Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, I have to admit, this story that I read today, it made me chuckle. It's almost comical to me. The headline reads, Maidana won't be ready for Broner in April for a rematch. Okay? Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Adrian Broner, he surprised the shit out of Marcos Maidana by exercising his rematch clause. Just like I said before, Abner Mares, he shocked Gonzalez when he exercised his rematch clause. All right? Now, what's so funny about this is we already know that Marcos Maidana, he had no problem trying to land the big payday to fight against Floyd Mayweather on May 3rd. But now, once Broner wants a rematch right away, which would have been either April 12th or April 26th, only, 7 days before May 3rd? Now, all of a sudden, Marcos Maidana is not ready for a rematch. And, to go even further, they don't even say he's not ready right now. They don't even give a date or an estimation of when he will be ready. They didn't say, we're not going to be ready in April. We'll be ready in maybe the beginning of May. They're not even saying that. They're just saying, we're not ready. Now, before I read part of the interview that was done today when it comes to this situation, I want to go back to the video that I just did a couple days ago when it comes to Marcos Maidana complaining about Broner wanting a rematch, okay? Now, like I said, Adrian Broner, he came out of nowhere and he told the media, he told everyone that I'm not fighting anyone until I fight Marcos Maidana first. That's the only fight that I want is Marcos Maidana. I talked about how you got to give Broner credit. It's a very ballsy move. He has everything to lose and everything to gain in a rematch like this. So, that was credit to Adrian Broner. All right? Now, keep in mind, in that video, I didn't say that Adrian Broner is going to beat Maidana. I didn't say that he's going to come back and knock out Maidana. I didn't say anything like that. Now, don't get me wrong. I said that this fight, it can go either way, and I'm not even going to really make a prediction because I really don't know where Adrian Broner's head is right now. But the point that I'm making is you have to give him credit for taking advantage of his rematch clause. Because he could have easily listened to all of his advisors, which were people like Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones Jr., and, tons of people were telling Adrian Broner, move down and wait, avoid the Marcos Maidana fight. This is not what Adrian Broner wanted to do. Adrian Broner is one of those very rare fighters that walks it like he talks it, okay? In other words, he talks a big game, but he's got the heart. He's got the heart to take the type of risk and gambles that the average fighter would not take. I mean, right now, and I'm not going to name them all, but you got a whole lot of fighters right now that are flat out ducking fighters that they are supposed to be standing up and fighting against. You got a lot of these fighters who talk about pride and et cetera, but they're steadily ducking someone who's right there in their division, et cetera, all right? Adrian Broner is not doing that, all right? He took a beating against Marcos Maidana, and he's willing to get right back in the ring and do it again. He's willing to try to right his wrong. Now, in the last Adrian Broner-Marcos Maidana video that I did, I was basically just breaking the news that Adrian Broner has exercised his rematch clause. And, as I expected, the majority of people who hate Adrian Broner, they basically jumped to Maidana's defense and they started to say, it's funny because I expected them to say, well, that's good. Marcos Maidana is going to whoop on him even worse in a rematch. But none of the people who defended Broner even really talked about the rematch. Only thing they talked about is the same thing Marcos Maidana was saying, which is, well, that's unfair. Why does Maidana have to fight him again? Which is funny to me because this is exactly what Maidana was saying. Why do I have to fight him again? That's not fair. So the fans who were defending Maidana, they were saying stuff like, well, Paulie Malignaggi, he deserved a rematch more then Broner deserves a rematch against Marcos Maidana. What you guys don't understand is that may be true. We can sit here and we can say Paulie did deserve a rematch. But the fact is, he didn't have a rematch clause. So it doesn't really matter who deserves it and who doesn't deserve it. Adrian Broner is the one that had the rematch clause. And not only that, but the star is always the one that has the rematch clause. The opponent never has a rematch clause. Like when people say, well, Maidana, he deserved a rematch over Amir Khan. The opponent never gets a rematch clause. Do you guys think Buster Douglas had a rematch clause in his contract when he fought against Mike Tyson? Of course not, right? So the point is, this has nothing to do with who deserves a rematch more than the other. I mean, we could honestly sit here and I could agree with you and we could all just say Adrian Broner, he doesn't deserve a rematch at all. But guess what? He does deserve the rematch because he put it in the contract. The reason why I told you I chuckled when I first read this article at the beginning is because the video that I just did. I told you guys in that video that when you hear a champion like Marcos Maidana, who just beat Adrian Broner, first person to beat him, and he beat him decisively, impressive victory. When you hear someone like Marcos Maidana say, why do I have to fight him again? What about when I fought against Khan, I deserved a rematch. And when you hear him saying all of these things, it shows a little bit of concern. All right, I mean, you can hate the shit out of Adrian Broner, but you guys would have to admit that shows just a little bit of concern. Because if this was just easy money just sitting on the table and all you had to do was just snatch the money, you're not going to care about this rematch. Matter of fact, that solidifies the first victory. That shows that it wasn't just luck. You didn't just have a good day and Adrian Broner had a bad day. Not only that, but your stock goes up, okay? If Marcos Maidana were to beat Adrian Broner twice, which is very possible that he could do that, then his stock goes up. That makes a Maidana Mayweather fight that much bigger. That makes a Maidana maybe Pacquiao fight in the future that much bigger. If you could beat this guy twice, all right? When Shane Mosley lost to Vernon Forrest, Shane Mosley, he asked for an immediate rematch. And what did Vernon Forrest say? You think Vernon Forrest said, no, man, why do I got to fight Shane Mosley again? Why do I have to fight him again? This is not fair, and et cetera, et cetera. No, Vernon Forrest didn't say that. Vernon said, let's do it. Send me the contract. Okay? When Shane Mosley lost to Winky Wright, Winky Wright didn't make no excuses. Winky Wright said, let's do it. And those were just two perfect examples right off my head. I can give you guys a gang of, examples if I really sit down and think about all the rematches in the past. But the point is, how come Marcos Maidana is not responding the same way Vernon Forrest did, the same way Winky Wright did? Because there is some concern there. Please tell me, how can Adrian Broner be ready for Maidana in April, but Maidana is not ready for Adrian Broner? Did Maidana take more damage? Was he beat up more? No matter how you guys try to defend Maidana, you cannot explain that. He is concerned, Maidana is, period. And I know that Marcos Maidana is expecting a baby on the way, and that's one of the excuses that he's using. But he had a baby that was on the way when he was trying to land the Mayweather fight on May 3rd. So that's not a legitimate excuse either. See, the whole thing is, all you have to do is listen to what Marcos Maidana is saying. Right after the fight, Marcos Maidana, he said that Adrian Broner was tougher than I thought. He said Adrian Broner, he hits very hard. He has power. He was telling you guys basically everything that I'm saying right now, but they don't want to hear that. Fans who hate Adrian Broner and they like Marcos Maidana, they don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear the truth. Just like when Juan Marquez agreed with me, when everyone was sending me, or I should say certain people were sending me racist messages, and just because I said that Tim Bradley is going to beat Marquez, Tim Bradley is going to be a far more difficult opponent for Marquez than Manny Pacquiao was for Marquez. When I said that, I got all these Marquez fans sending me the most ridiculous, racist, ignorant messages, as they always do. And just because they did not want to believe that it was true. Oh, Bradley is a bum. How could Bradley be harder when Bradley lost to, Manny Pacquiao and et cetera, et cetera. All of that, right? Then all of a sudden, Marquez, he came out like it always happens. Marquez came out and he said the truth. He said the exact same thing that I was saying. He said, Tim Bradley is going to be more difficult for me than Manny Pacquiao was. Why? Because Tim Bradley, he has speed. He has agility. He has the head movement, the rhythm. He can fight on the inside. He can fight. He can box. He can fight on the outside. He can counterpunch, etc., etc. These are words that came right out of Juan Marquez's mouth. So when they didn't believe me saying it, all of a sudden, they hear the guy that they're defending saying exactly what I was saying, and they still wanted to act like it wasn't true. You know what they said when Marquez said it? The same people who were sending me ignorant racist messages, they said some stupid shit like, oh, Marquez is just saying that because he's trying to sell the fight. Oh, Marquez is just saying that because, he's just trying to be nice to Bradley and etc. He feels sorry for Bradley. Real silly-ass, dumb, ignorant fan shit. Or fan talk, basically. That's what they were saying. Same thing that's going on right now, guys. Same thing's going on right now. Maidana, he tells you the truth. He tells you that Broner was tough. He was this, he was that. He's a hard puncher, etc., etc. Now, even though the fans that defend Marcos Maidana, they heard him say the same thing that I heard him say. But they still defend him. No. Maidana didn't mean what he said. Broner is a pussy and he's weak and he's that. And why would he worry about this guy? Look at what's going on, guys. Read the news. It tells you that Marcos Maidana, he is concerned. Who says, I'm not ready for that fight? Oh, but I'm ready for a bigger payday like with Mayweather. But no, we're not ready for Adrian Broner. You know why they're not ready for Adrian Broner? Because in the first fight, Maidana was going in that fight with nothing to lose. He was the underdog. And for people who send me messages saying, oh man, I can't believe you picked Broner to beat Marcos Maidana, etc., etc. But do you guys know that, I don't know if I said this earlier in the video, but do you guys know that Broner versus Maidana was voted as one of the biggest upsets of the year? What does that tell you? That tells you that Maidana was not expected to win that fight. And there's a very good chance that if Maidana were to fight someone similar to Adrian Broner again, like a Sean Porter, like a Kareem Mayfield, a Tim Bradley, or any type of American slick style like that, he would still most likely be an underdog. Why? Because the style that Marcos Maidana, 9 times out of 10, or I could be generous and say 8 times out of 10, they lose to a slick thinking type fighter. I mean, I don't have time to break down the statistics, but if you guys have been following boxing for the last 20, 30 years, or the last 50, whatever years, then you know that to be the case. 9 times out of 10, the boxer beats the banger. Okay? That's just a fact. That's not speculation. That's a fact. You get these certain type of casual fans that just hate Adrian Broner, and as soon as you do boxing talk and you say something that makes sense, and just because it's something they don't want to hear, they'll just start saying, oh, you just like Adrian Broner. That's all it is. But the truth is, this ain't got nothing to do with like or dislike. It either makes sense or it doesn't make sense. All right? And the fact of the matter is, if Maidana is complaining about having to even fight Broner in a rematch, and then once he finds out that he can't, slip out of it and avoid the rematch, then all of a sudden he says, oh, but we're not ready. Oh, we don't know when we'll be ready. We'll just let you know. But he was ready to fight against Floyd Mayweather. That clearly suggests that there is a concern when it comes to fighting against Adrian Broner. And it intimidates Marcos Maidana that Adrian wants the rematch so soon. Now, this is not to suggest that Marcos Maidana won't beat Broner, because he has a good chance of winning in a rematch. But the truth is, Maidana wanted to go out like Marquez did after he knocked out Pacquiao. He doesn't want to take the chance of losing that feeling of feeling like he's king. And if he loses, then all of that is erased. I'll add the link to the description box, and I'm out of time, guys. I'm on to the next one.